This is weird.
I'm just going to tweet out that you're going live, mate, before you start.
Sam.
We're
I am
already
this is how bad I am. So yeah, hi guys, welcome to my first ever live. What could possibly go wrong? But yeah, so we're coming in. Ant, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. You gave me a message just as I was getting into bed. That's why I'm in my dressing gown, but ready to go.
Do apologise. Neil, how you doing, mate?
I'm all good, mate. I've got a sign ready to go. So just ready to go. Right?
You know what? I can't believe that. I didn't think it was true, and I've just seen it on Twitter. I can't believe that. They've actually gone out and put Enzo, we miss you. They really must have loved Cooper.
I've even got the spelling right. They can't even spell it properly. They've got I and U, like they're spelling like a 4-year-old as well. That's what I love.
Honestly, some people.
You know what? Like, people are finding it hilarious, but I do think it, like, whatever you think of Cooper, I do think it leaves a bit of a sort of disrespectful taste. And
yeah, it doesn't show good camaraderie. I've got to be honest. I feel a little bit like, you know, you can have a bit of banter. Maybe the players knew that it was happening. Obviously, they've just come out of it and whatever else. But it's not really a good thing to be doing, is it? Let's be quite frank. But
no, it's as funny as it is, because I think we're none of us here were particularly Steve Cooper fans. It's like, I don't know. It just feels massively disrespectful, like beyond what needs to be done. But
yeah,
it just depends on what kind of relationship we've had. I'm with you for the most part. If I'm top, I'm fuming, absolutely fuming. That's the reputation. We pay you, and you do that. If we did something like that at our businesses, they're talking about an ex-employee or an ex-manager, and they had a sign like that. Once they'd sack me on the spot, there'd be a heavy disciplinary. Disciplinary at a bare minimum.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm saying it's probably too much when it's taking a piss out of someone, it's you've well and truly you've gone too far.
Yeah, you've crossed the line completely. I mean, Ant's not one to take the piss.
And there's one thing.
Never me, mate. Never me.
There's one thing to have a party like that, and then you could at least go, well, how do you know it was recorded then? And how do you know it wasn't recorded in the summer, etc.? But then you have that, and there's no two ways about it. It obviously is after the match. Because you know what I mean? If it was the case that, do you know what? Somebody could come out and go, do you know what? We did this before pre-season kicked off, before Enzo, and we just thought we'd celebrate coming up from the Premier League, going up to the Premier League, and Enzo had left, etc. You can kind of go, fair enough.
Yeah.
But
you can
now, because we just played him, it's done. But I kind of a little bit understand if you've had a really toxic workplace and you've had somebody that's just really crap and they've left, and you're just like, but was he that toxic or was he just a bit crap? And I think he was more the latter than he was really, really toxic.
He just seemed like he was out of his depth to me. He seemed like a nice bloke.
Oh yeah, the type you want to bring home and see your kids or just meet your family and all that sort of stuff. Like, you could probably go for a pint with Steve Cooper. Yeah. Go for a pint with him, have a laugh with him, but just as long as it's not on Leicester City's territory, I'm all right.
It's all right, isn't it?
No, carry on, mate. Carry on.
I was going to say, it's literally that. And that's why I don't have any ill will towards Steve Cooper. It's like he came in to do a job, hasn't done it.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. And I think, like we've all said this time and time again, I don't feel like it's not his fault for me. Whoever gave him the job and appointed him to take over, that's where the book should end for me. You know, they're responsible for making Steve Cooper look like an absolute muppet, or at least exposing himself to being a muppet that we didn't really need to see. But speaking on that, guys, the reason really I just wanted to do this. Hi, Kyle, my main man. Just try and do that one. Hello. See, I'm getting used to it now, boys. I'm a pro. But yeah, so it's one of them. I wanted to discuss really what we all know what the options are. We all know that there's Ruud van Nistelrooy. We all know that there's David Moyes and potentially, bless you, Graham Potter. You know, What's the worst that could happen? We know that these are the managers that are all lined up to come in. It's about, for me, they got it right to get rid of him. Now they need to get it right for who they bring in. And I don't know, mate, Neil. I'm just thinking a little bit. Ruud van Nistelrooy, for me, I wouldn't be upset with the appointment. I would probably be a little bit excited to see what he could do. But I just feel, for me anyway, there's a lot weighing on this. And, you know, we've got one shot to get it right, because we can't sack him again. You know, we need to get it right. So what are you thinking on the situation, mate?
I mean, with Ruud, it depends on what he sold to the club. So you could see it in a similar situation to when we came up, when we were relegated and Enzo came in. His record, it was a bit of a risk. Let's be honest. Let's take it back to July. It was a risk, but it was a calculated risk. Ruud could be that, but I think people are gonna see the benefits of his style at. People are seeing how he works at the other clubs that the PSV, and then he's had a little bit of Man United, but I genuinely don't think you can measure anything against Man United just because he came in as manager, but kind of like Shakespeare came in after Ranieri, didn't really have to do a lot of stuff. He needs to do the basics right, and he would have succeeded. And he did do well, but again, it's a huge risk because we could be in the same position. If it's a calculated risk, let's see. But I think the club have fired Cooper because we want Premier League survival, but Ruud doesn't cover that.
And what's your take on Ruud?
Thing is, there's definitely an element that I would be excited, but I get sort of, the vibes of Gerrard at Rangers, where he's been at one of the bigger clubs in a smaller league and absolutely smashed it. Could he then translate that to where he comes to one of the clubs that maybe aren't towards the top of the table, don't have all the resources in the world? Because Steven Gerrard at Rangers was talked about as a tactical genius who was defensively very solid. He got found out within 2 months at Aston Villa.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not saying that would happen to Ruud, but do you see the point I'm making of it? It's like, it's one thing being at a big club like PSV in Holland, where you're sort of within the top 2-3 clubs in the country.
Yeah. And I think that's my biggest concern is, Ruud could have been a good appointment for us instead of Steve Cooper, as in that time frame. That could have been a bit more. It seems very disrespectful. No, and I agree with you, Kyle, mate. I agree that the sign's a bit distasteful. We said that at the start, mate. It's a little bit distasteful from the players, but at the end of the day, I think, like Neil said, the club have got to do maybe internal things there and do what they need to do to put that right for me, because, like Neil said, they're paying them thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds a week. They're on multi-million-pound contracts, and that makes Leicester City look like a bloody Mickey Mouse show, So they need to put it under wraps. It's funny, don't get me wrong. I can see the banter with the boys, but at the end of the day, a man's lost his job, and we've had to shell out millions of pounds because of it. So I don't really think it's something to be gloating and laughing about like that.
And if you're the manager coming into the role, you're seeing that. You're thinking, right, A, that's the expectation. B, that's how they're treating the current manager.
Exactly that.
And as much as we don't like Steve Cooper, and as a manager, he's still someone who's very respected inside the game.
Absolutely. And you think if anybody else sees that, like, I don't know, like a news outlet or something sees that sign or something, it could be, I'm not saying it's going to be a controversy, would never be as big as anybody else, but I just think it's in distaste. But yeah. So Ruud van Nistelrooy, we're all in agreement then. You could get excited, but obviously it's a bit of a gamble, so to speak, in that respect, and I'd be excited if that was to happen. For me, I don't know. I'm torn between Potter and Moyes. For me, And the reason I say Moyes more is because Potter's already rejected us multiple times. Now, we know Top loves him off. We know Top's going to get a restraining order. But to quote you, Ant, but, you know, we all know. I'm just concerned. I'm babbling on a bit. I'm really excited, and I don't want to sit here and be a sourpuss. I really don't want to sit here and be a sourpuss. But I genuinely thought we were going to have Steve Cooper for another 4 or 5 weeks. So this has completely took me by surprise. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah. It's one of those. Do you think, because I've seen a lot of reports today, and I've heard certain things that after the game yesterday, a lot of senior players were saying to Top that he needs to go now. Do you reckon that's almost forced Top's hand a bit quicker than he wanted?
I think so, personally. That's my take of it. You could see how frustrated the players were during multiple games. During all of these games, you could see how frustrated they were. It's just frustrating for them, obviously. And to be fair, there's a lot of people for me that have a voice in that. You know, I know Connor Cody was there taking the mick up, just bringing up that sign thing again. But Jamie Vardy's a massive presence in that dressing room. Harry Winks, for me, seems to be a bit more of a presence in that dressing room. We've seen Wilfred Ndidi shouting at the sideline during that last game at home at Chelsea, screaming this isn't working. So I think it's when there's rot and when there's disagreements, it can spread like wildfire in a dressing room. And if you lose the dressing room, your days are numbered. Don't care. You ain't got the players on your side. You ain't got a cat in hell's chance.
The thing is, I don't think he ever lost the dressing room because I don't think he ever had the belief of them in the first place.
Fair point.
And I think that's the same with the fans. It's like, I don't think the fans, like, we all got behind him, but I don't think we really believed in him because I think it's two very different things. 'Cause I think with Enzo Maresca, it took like what 5-6 games before people even started to trust him, even though we were winning games.
Yeah.
And it's like with Steve Cooper, there just wasn't that at all.
You're right, but for me, when I saw the game, you know, we played against Aston Villa. That was the game. I was like, okay, if he keeps doing this and if we keep improving on that, I can see we can get behind it. But it was never really a run of games where that was the case. The only real time we had that run, and we say it's a run, but it was a game against Southampton where his tactics didn't work. He changed it to the Endo system. It worked, and then after that, it never really worked again. Yes, we got a cup again. We got that win against Bournemouth, but that was, again, that shouldn't have really been a win. We did get lucky with that one.
Exactly that, and that's what we don't need now. Moving forward, for me, I don't think that we need that. And just touching on this here, just quickly from LCFC Forever, Steve Cooper is a very likable guy. Always seems genuine in interviews, but not a Premier League manager for me. And I couldn't agree more. You know, he seems like a proper nice bloke. Go out for a drink with him. But I don't see him, guys. I don't know about you two. I don't see him coming back to the Premier League unless he gets promoted with a Championship side, quite frankly.
I don't think any other Premier League club would have touched him apart from us in the first place. And now he's had this period where he's proved to everyone that he's not a Premier League level manager. As you say, if he can build that connection with a club like he did with Forest, where he's got the fans that will absolutely sort of 100% behind him and the players that will run through a brick wall for him because obviously he got them to the Premier League, then maybe. But I feel like that's the only way he's going to get back to the Premier League.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Again, good luck to him. You know, it didn't work out at Leicester City. Cheers for wasting millions of our money, but cheers, pal. You know, it is what it is. Onwards and upwards. Do you think Potter will entertain the idea? Because this is what I'm toying with the most. We flirted with him like crazy as a replacement for Enzo. Now, again, there's the point deduction. There's all these rumours floating around as to why he didn't accept it at the time. What do you take on it, Neil?
So the reason why I heard that he didn't take it is because he wanted a director of football in, his director of football. Mm-hmm. And obviously Rudkin's golden boy there, and even though he doesn't do the work, again, you can have your opinion for and against, but he will be the main director of football. And without that, that's why talk broke down. I would be in favour, but I don't think it's going to get done. He would be my favourite personally if we're going to build for the future. And with that, all the clubs that I thought he was going to, Man United, obviously, that's got replaced. England job, I thought he was bang on favourites for that. Never happened. He's running out of opportunities now to get back into the league. And you look at the other managers, West Ham potentially is an option if Lopetegui goes. It looks like Russell Martin's going to stay on. Gary O'Neill's just picked up, I think, the first win of the season as well. Yeah. So we've just sacked the manager. For Potter, there isn't really going to be too much of an opportunity. But this is the final time we go after him. If he says no, bin him off, never talk to him again. I'm sorry, but this is the perfect opportunity if you want to go for him. If he says no or he's not entertaining the idea, then never speak to him again, because we can't go after him time number 5. That's almost like, that's restraining order territory.
That's like being desperate, really, isn't it? It's like, it's too much. And what are you saying about Potter? What are your thoughts on the boy who could?
He would be my favourite choice, but it's like now or never. And it's like, like Neil said, I thought he was nailed on for the England job.
Yeah.
All the clubs that he's been linked to, United, they've now got Amorim. So where does he go from here? Because Wolves, yes, they've had a good result, but it's like there's the uncertainty of will Wolves sack their manager, will West Ham, or there's the guarantee of a Premier League job now. And it's like the longer he's out of the game, the more his stock drops. And I also think he's been trying to put himself out there slightly by being on Sky constantly, and he's much more active in the media now than he was when he was rejecting the jobs.
Yeah, and like I said, I think I echo both of you guys. For me, Cooper is always going to be the number one. Cooper, Jesus wept. I'm so used to saying it.
Surprise!
Yeah, surprise! It was only a joke, really, boys. No, it's for me, it's always going to be Potter. Potter's always going to be the number one choice, just because of. I just think he's exciting, and from his time at Brighton, not so much as Chelsea. I don't look at his time at Chelsea. I don't really care about that. Chelsea was a poison chalice at that time. They've had other good established managers at that club before they seem to now have their way. And they sacked the bloke who actually had a good run of games with them, but neither here nor there for me. But for me, guys, I think it's got to be Moyes. And the only reason I say that is because, and hear me out, we're not the Leicester City of old anymore. We're not the established Premier League side. We're not the top 10 at the minute. At the minute, we fell a little bit from grace, but we are a Premier League team, I feel, and it's just getting that manager just to get us over the edge, get us over that little foothold, and push forward. Do you know what I mean? That's for me what I think that we need, and for me, there's no one better than Moyes. So, and I'll come to you.
My worry with Moyes is, yes, he did a fantastic job twice at West Ham. Mm-hmm. I feel like we're closer to what Sunderland were than what West Ham were than when he took over at West Ham. When he got Sunderland relegated.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's my only worry. But I also think Moyes he does sort your defence out. He'll make us harder to beat. But I also think Potter can do that, can't he? But he won't. Potter will sort our defence out, but in a different kind of way. Instead of just low blocks counter-attacking, Potter will make us harder to beat in terms of the fact we'll press and we'll try and get up the pitch a little bit more. So I think either way we improve defensively. It's just I think Moyes is a lot more sort of structured of back four, hard to beat, and really just focusing on set pieces and like the basics.
Mm-hmm. Neil?
I think as part of that, there's something that Gary's put again. Just mentioned Gary's got. I really appreciate Gary's if you follow him, CJ92 on Twitter. He's got a UEFA B license. He knows a lot about football. I think Gary's been on your show a couple of times, and he's been on our channel as well. He's mentioned that he's not given enough credit spending time in RB Leipzig, Ajax, and he's got the philosophies that aren't just the ones with West Ham. That was just the deciding factor of these are the players I've got. This is the system that works. And he's building against stability over the number of years and seeing the players. At the end of the day, we're just trying to stay safe. If we give him a long-term contract, I think that will show something. I'm just not sure what his next move is. And again, will he get the best out of the squad that we've got? The squad that we've got. Sorry, there's an interference.
What that was? Is that gone now? That interference?
I think so.
Yeah. Jesus,
Whatever you threw it worked.
Sorry.
But
It was annoying, man.
With Moyes, I think he's if he gets the best that he's worked with, my thing is he's the squad that we've already seen that Steve Cooper didn't work because the players didn't like. And they're already saying that, aren't they? They're already saying this. Now, are they going to say the same thing with Steve Cooper? Is David Moyes going to be the person that they're going to say this? Yeah. I don't think it's that much of a change. And the players, well, yeah, it's better, but is it that much better? Because we're still missing Enzo. Graham Potter is the most like that goes, you know, I hear your frustrations. Here's my system. If we play these players in these positions, we're going to climb up the table and going to buy into this for the long run.
Do you think then, based off of that, because I'm actually quite interested in what you both got to think about this, because my head's flabbergasted with that thought. Do you think the senior players are actually going to have something to say or do then about the new manager? Because if they've gone to top, let's just play the scenario out hypothetically. They got beat by Chelsea. Steve Cooper's clueless. They've gone to top and said, "Listen here, chap, you guys start going on your yacht and leaving us. This guy's an absolute muppet. Get him out," right? So they've listened and they've got him out. Are they holding that much of a presence within the club? Are they that respected that highly that their opinion on the new manager is going to be taken into consideration as well? Because they clearly got it wrong the first time around and he's not gelled with the players. So would they go to the players and say, look, these are the candidates, like maybe not all of the players, obviously, not like a committee meeting, but like maybe go to like your Vardys, your Winkses, you know, the players that are a massive foothold in that team and say, look, what type of manager do you think? These are the candidates that we've got. Who do you think is going to be best suited? Now, and again, I would like to think no. I would like to think that the club would handle that. But again, I'd just like to hear your guys' thoughts on it.
I can't see that being the case. I think they might have sort of their opinions might be asked of sort of what type of manager and but ultimately I think that comes down to like the director of football and the people above will make that final decision. Like, yes, they'll probably have an input, but not
a decided vote.
Yeah.
Okay. Neil?
Well, I could see at the same time because they've thrown their toys out of the pram, and I can understand why. Because in the summer, even with people like Rob Tanner was mentioning, because he kept mentioning David Moyes, he kept mentioning when I can't remember who he did an interview with on Leicester channels, and he mentioned they're looking for a possession-based manager, looking for a front-footed to build on what Enzo's built on. Steve Cooper didn't offer that. David Moyes, in my opinion, doesn't offer that, but I'm willing to give him a chance to see what he does. However, we said the same thing about Steve Cooper.
Yeah. And that's the thing that worries me is, are we just going to, like I said, this is for me why it was so monumentally important. You know, we need to appoint the right person now. You know, the board have put their hands up and said, look, we've got it wrong, which is more than what we could all have asked for. You know, let's be quite frank. You know, we thought it might go past January and it could slog on and they might have had one eye on the championship and all that sort of stuff. You know, we all speculated this. And now the board have turned around and said, no, sorry, chap, you're out. No one knew about this, by the way. No news outlets dropped a hint, nothing at all. This was done in-house straight away sort of thing. So
it's
apart from the players.
oh yeah.
But you say about no news outlets. On Thursday, Rob Tanner and John Percy, both like the two of the best Leicester sources, both put out very positive Steve Cooper pieces saying about it being a work in progress and Steve Cooper not getting his ideas across. And they're two very well briefed journalists. So I think like something must have happened after that Chelsea game.
It must have been. And that's why I'm saying all the stars align to say that something has happened after the Chelsea game. They've got I miss you, Enzo, on a bloody strip of paper. That you know, we've had reports. Yeah, thank you, Neil. they've got all these things that are pointing to say the players have threw Steve Cooper under the bus.
Yeah,
which you know, look, we needed it really, you know, because maybe the board needed to kick up the arse without being horrible. You know, they listened to us about Rodgers, but we needed to chant it around the grounds for God knows how many times.
Is it because Top was at the game?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Because if he wasn't at the game, I've got a feeling that he'd still be in charge. And maybe Top is only, everything's fine. And then he goes and actually speaks to the players and realizes that it's not actually that bad. It's actually worse than I thought it was. But then again, you can't be making rash decisions because you feel a certain way. Let's not forget that the likes of when it was Ranieri was sacking, that was Vichai's decision. It wasn't Top's decision. Top was like, I want him to give him a chance in order to keep us in the league because he's done so much for us. And Vichai was there going, no, pull the trigger. I appreciate you. Thank you for all you've done, but we can't get relegated. We can't afford to.
Yeah. You got to be ruthless.
Something that was interesting, from John Percy's piece this afternoon, is where he was saying Rudkin sacked him, though. It wasn't Top that sacked him. Rudkin was the person who told Cooper. So whether that's just Rudkin doing
the dirty work,
Top's dirty work, or whether it was Rudkin that made the decision.
I suppose an argument could be made for both, really. I mean, it does tend to roll downhill, doesn't it? So maybe Top's just like, look, I'm busy, pal. I'm on my yacht with my kids and my wife. You sort him out, pal. I'm busy. Or it's more of, like you've just said, maybe he's appointed him. And Top's gone, you made the idiotic decision. You sack him and we'll take it from here and we'll put it right. There's so many things. But yeah, like LCFC Forever said, Vardy looked angry when he got subbed off yesterday. And do you know what? I believe actually that Vardy would have something to say about the situation because he's been a long-time servant of Leicester City. He's loved and adored by fans and staff alike. He's got a monumental relationship with the owner. For me, I don't think it would just be Vardy. I've got to say, I don't think it was just Vardy. I feel that if Vardy was going to go up there, they might have collected. But carry on.
The thing is, everyone's saying Vardy and Winks. I wouldn't be surprised because it's two different things. And I said this on my own stream, being angry in like private around your teammates and sort of your work colleagues, compare it to being angry in front of 30,000 fans. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's someone that we really don't think about as well. I said James Justin wouldn't surprise me if he'd absolutely had enough because he's been made to look like an absolute bang average footballer when he's not by Steve Cooper exposing him week after week. So I wouldn't be surprised if he'd absolutely lost his rag.
I was trying to find the post that I'd found, but I think it's my phone that keeps giving the interference. So I'll leave it where it is. I don't think it is my mic. I think we found out what the problem is. So basically, I seen a post saying that the guys had gone Top and a couple of the people had gone down to the changing rooms after the Chelsea game to see how the mood was, allegedly. Now I want to log on to onto the X to find the post so I could share it and show you.
I'll get it up, mate.
Yeah, but it's basically on there somewhere.
X somewhere.
I know where it is. I've got it. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, but it basically just said that, and like LCFC Forever's just said there, you know, Vardy has been an absolute legend for the club and has been so integral that I think he has that sort of power, and I agree completely. You know, with that, with having the power, you know, he's got the power. Why
I was
not?
literally thinking of the same thing, man.
He's got the power because, I mean, look at what happened when we had Enzo. You know, when we went on that losing streak. Do you remember? You know, we were on that losing streak and everyone was losing their heads and we're going to bottle it now. It weren't HMS Pistol League then, was it? It was, we're going to lose it now. But it didn't turn out that way because Vardy pulled everyone together and grabbed him by the scruff of the neck and rallied everybody. So I wouldn't put it past him.
It was that. I've just pulled up something. If you want to share that screen, Daz, I've just shared. This is another thing about that. Vardy was, and again, there's the stats to back it up. So you just click on that. It should click and it should pop up on the bigger screen.
How do I do that? Oh,
click on there's the bottom. The bottom it says add to screen.
Oh yeah.
There we go. So that is the heat map of the game, and basically you can see here again. I'm not getting too much into stats. There is basically the ball went forwards and sideways right in our half, and we didn't get the ball to Vardy at all. And when the ball did get up, it probably went to Bakatir and then it went back to the beginning. So again, just showing you that Vardy's like, give me the ball, I'll put it in the back of the net. But let's be honest, Vardy has less than 10 touches in the whole game. Let's be honest.
I also am like defending Steve Cooper slightly here, and I don't want to do it too much. I also did think Vardy could have done a lot more yesterday. He looked like from minute one he was playing pissed off. And like, because before he would drop deep to make himself an option, he would even if he's not going to get the ball, he would run beyond on the shoulder to move the defenders. He was doing none of that yesterday. He looked pissed off from minute one.
And this is the other thing, Ant, just that you were saying. So Leicester City players turned on Steve Cooper in an owner-led dressing room inquest shortly after yesterday's 2-1 defeat to Chelsea. The Leicester owners entered the dressing room soon after the final whistle to assess the mood of the players. One senior star is believed to have said that Cooper's tactics and setup were in disgrace. Cooper was sacked 24 hours later. So, yeah.
Everyone said this is where I think that might be James Justin. Everyone's saying Vardy and Winks. I have a feeling that might be James Justin, and that's just a gut feeling. I've got nothing to go by with that. But Vardy and Winks haven't been afraid to say it sort of on the touchline. Winks on Sky Sports. I feel like JJ, probably in the dressing room is one of those that wouldn't be scared to share his opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's an open dressing room at the end of the day, isn't it? So, the players would be able to speak freely, at the end of the day. And if they're all humming the same tune, then there's only going to be one outcome, really, isn't there? And that's going to be see you later, alligator. But before we wrap it up, because I can see Ant is absolutely tired and I am starting to feel that way as well. And yeah, you're right. That could be anyone. And this is the thing, that's why I wanted to try and shed some light on the situation, saying that obviously I'd seen something on Twitter to stipulate that it was a team talk. So that would be, I'm presuming, all of the 11 players, including the bench and obviously fringe players as well that are injured. So, they've clearly had a chat about it and they're clearly not happy about everything. And look, it worked, So the club do care and they clearly obviously respect the relationship between the players and the manager, which is good. I like that. That fills me with confidence.
With that, because I didn't go to the game yesterday, what was the atmosphere like in the ground?
Could hear a pin drop.
All match.
Yeah, pretty much. Apart from when Fofana had the ball.
I love that song.
It was that. The only time I heard it when I was watching it from home was That and also same old Chelsea always cheating. That's the only 2 times I heard them. Everybody kind of chant.
Oh,
that
and the
was
pen.
me.
And the pen.
That was very quiet as well. That was, normally when something like that starts, it like more and more people join in. Like people around me just looked like they couldn't be asked.
Yeah.
And like there was empty seats everywhere. It's like I know around me is just season ticket holders, but it was season ticket holders that just haven't turned up.
We didn't go. We didn't go. You know, my father-in-law would rather go to his other gaff and couldn't be bothered to go. And to be honest with you, I don't blame him, because it's been a tough start to the season. And I'm not saying like, oh, you know, we're bottom of the table, woe is me, this is that, you know. But I don't think I'm alone, guys. I don't think we've had one performance where I went, fair play, lads, we're having a right good go at this league. I've watched Ipswich, right? And I know this is going to be hard to hear, but I've watched Ipswich today and in other games, and they've been absolutely phenomenal. They took Manchester United today to the sword, right? And Rashford was actually tracking back and running like a pin missile, right? And they could have won that game quite easily. We were lucky to get a point out of them. I just feel that with Cooper, we were pushing our luck. And I just hope if the players have got the bollocks to turn around and say something like, we miss you, Enzo, and all this sort of stuff, and have a held meeting and all that sort of stuff, that when the new manager does come in, we start seeing a different tune.
I think the thing is as well, you say about games today, did you watch the Southampton-Liverpool game?
I did.
It's like Southampton gave absolutely everything in that. And it's like, if you're going to lose games, that's how you do it. Not having your first shot on target in the 95th minute from a penalty.
Exactly. But can you understand, though, as well, with the other ones, you know, like and I agree with this Mads Manson thing as well, but that's another conversation for another day, because I feel like we're just not going to have him at all. But for me, I would say we came alive with Steve Cooper with red cards. Other teams have gifted our team the chance to come alive in games. Southampton being a clear example, they should have won that game in the first half. Let's be quite frank, right? Now we've not got Abdul, our magic man, at the minute. He's now out with an ACL for the whole season. So we ain't got that impact anymore, you know. So whoever does come in is going to have a right job on their hands to try and get a tune. But I think, and this is going to be quite interesting, I think whoever comes in is just going to get backed instantly. Snap of the fingers, it's going to be, yeah, we'll get behind you. I don't think there'll be any and ahhing.
By the players, by who? The owners, fans. By the players, by the fans.
Fans. I think the fans will be straight behind, even if it's Moyes, whoever it is, because
what about
we've got rid of Cooper.
What about if it's Mark Robbins?
I'll leave the club
behind him even more just to wind them up.
I don't want Mark. I don't want Mark Robbins.
I'm with you, but you're saying like, oh, they'll back him regardless, and I'm like, I would, but they have to be better than Cooper.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So maybe that was a bit preemptive to say that then. Yeah, so I agree actually. Yeah, if it was Mark Robbins or Gareth Southgate or someone like that, I'd have more questions than answers. But like I say, if it's Moyes, Ruud van Nistelrooy, or Potter, let's just say, I would say that 99% of fans would be behind them instantaneously. If it's someone like you chucking a side ball like we did with Enzo Maresca, so we may still do that. You know, it's not unheard of with Leicester City. I just feel that we haven't got the time or the if we go down to the Championship, boys, you know, we're all screwed. Mm-hmm. We're getting hammered on
that as well, which is why that might have been something that would really get the business over as well. I think with it would be interesting to see if they go and get another assistant from, like, they go to Arteta, like, can we have your assistant? Carlos Quest, I think was
he's good. He is actually.
So imagine they just go, we're going to go get someone completely left field. Because I think with Enzo was hanging around. His name just wouldn't go away with his links. We had Parker was favourite for a while. McKenna was there, and they were like, yeah, we're interviewing them. And then And then it's kind of like Steve Cooper. It was Graham Potter, Carlos Corberan. Then Steve Cooper just kind of wiped both of them out of nowhere. So it could be the case we're getting somebody that's not even linked to them.
Yeah, and that's the thing for me. It's I hope this news has been the best news I've had as a Leicester City fan all year. All year is that he's gone, and that's not me being horrible. That's just me thankful that the club have made a good decision to keep us hopefully afloat in the Premier League, and we're giving us a fighting chance now. But yes, guys, I think any words before we wrap up? Anything at all that you wanted to touch on or put a point across? Anything at all?
I think you've covered everything, mate.
Let's hope that it is somebody better, because again, it's great. It's like selling a car and then hopefully replacing it with a car that's more reliable and is younger. There's no point in going in and selling your car and replacing it with an old beaten up car that's worse than the car you've already had, even if it was a crap car.
Yes, the thing is, just on that point quickly, I think the thing is for me, with Steve Cooper being the bar that we've had previously, because you always, as fans, I don't think people would relate too much now to Enzo Maresca, because our last manager is actually Steve Cooper. So a lot of people would probably go and say, if it is Graham Potter or someone like that, they go, oh, well, God, you remember when Steve Cooper was in charge of us? We did this, and this. So you always kind of, compare against your last manager in the instantaneous side of things. So people might see more attacking football and might be able to relate a bit better with certain types of football with the new manager, opposed to obviously what we've had with Steve Cooper, which has just been huddled in the pitch and not passing the ball to the striker. But yeah, I don't know, boys. I don't know. I wanted to talk about the January transfer window and stuff as well, but again, that could be another video for another day. Guys, thanks very much for getting involved in the chat. I completely appreciate. Obviously, this is a new channel for me, and and Neil have very willingly given up their time and looks ready for bed in his in his clothes there. So, yeah, guys, thanks very much for coming on and joining me. Anything you want to say to everybody? I think everybody that is subbed to me and watching this at the minute is already subscribed to both of you guys. But yeah, Ant, where can they find you, mate, if by some miracle I've pulled someone that doesn't know you?
So Ant's Leicester fan channel. So guys, if I'm going to put this on my channel as well on the community tab, please subscribe to Daz. He is 4 subs away from 50.
Get in there. Neil, obviously. Same for you, chap.
Yeah, make sure you go and subscribe to Daz as well. It's button just there. Go click it.
It's all for Daz today. We love that. How can you top off a better night with Steve Cooper getting sacked? Smashing 50 subscribers. That's how we do that. Yeah, just quickly, Chester Leicester. Yeah, sorry a bit late, mate. But yeah, hi again, chap. And yeah, forever a Fox, mate. Thanks again. I will try and do it a little bit earlier next time, guys. This was just lastminute.com after appearing on everything and having multiple conversations with family members, screaming and shouting in pure excitement. But we'll catch you all later on the next one. See you in a bit, guys.